Hiraku wakes up earlier after dreaming of his death in his world. He goes out and greets everyone, noting that he didn't expect to ever live such a dream life. As a soul, Hiraku faces the god that watches over the world. The god notes that he lived 39 years, but he had a cruel fate. He was betrayed by others and then fell ill with a terminal disease. The god decides to give him a second chance with a body that won't fall ill. The god finds it's his mistake for his awful life and wants to apologize and asks him if he has any wish he can also grant him. Thinking for a bit, Hiraku states he wants to try farming. He watched a show about it while he was sick and he wishes to try it. Additionally, he isn't good at getting along with others and wants to go farming somewhere where there aren't many people. The god states farming isn't his jurisdiction, but makes a call and arranges the things. He gets permission from the agriculture god to bestow upon Hiraku the power of the almighty farming tool. Hiraku wakes up in a forest and is happy to be healthy and be able to move again. He decides to start his farming life there and wonders how to use the almighty farming tool. The tool magically appears in his hand and Hiraku starts digging, noting that he isn't getting tired at all. He likes how soft the soil is and notes he can grow good vegetables there. Hiraku then realizes he first needs to worry about food and water and goes looking around. He sees a big tree and decides to make it a landmark and use it as a camp. He goes around looking for a river, but is unable to find any source of water. Hiraku then decides to dig and find underground water. He summons his tool, which turns into a shovel, and soon after he started digging, he ends up finding water. While preparing the ground around the tree, Hiraku looks for food, but is unable to find anything. Hiraku then looks at a smaller tree which eventually will get in his way and decides to chop it down now. He summons his tool as an axe and almost gets crushed by the tree as he ends up cutting it with a single swing. He turns his tool into a hatchet and then cuts the tree into pieces. Before he realizes, it's getting dark already, and he turns his tool into a magnifying glass, but the sun sets. Having no way to start a fire, he carves a hole into the large tree and hides inside. Hiraku cuts some plates and cups. He realizes the moon provides enough light for him to see, but then sees that there are 2 moons and guesses he must be in another world. In the morning, Hiraku continues to clear the ground around the large tree and cut some more trees. He feels it's time to get something to eat, and in that moment, a large monster rabbit attacks him, and Hiraku manages to kill it in a single swing with his tool. After eating it, he decides to make a toilet and digs a large hole with an entrance, gas release hole, and a tree trunk as a seat. As he couldn't relax, he ends up creating a small cabin around the toilet seat. Hiraku then proceeds cultivating the land and imagines what he could cultivate. As he is done, he realizes he doesn't have any seeds to plant anything. Next morning, he is surprised to see that some plants are already starting to grow and wonders if it's due to the tool. He decides to build a wall and a ditch around the fields to protect them from the rabbits and other beasts. It takes him a few days to complete it, but he manages to kill another rabbit. The plants grow faster and Hiraku is hoping that they are something he can eat and don't turn up being decorative flowers. Hiraku then builds a hut, but as he has a hard time lifting the wood up, he digs inside of it to give himself more vertical space. One day, he sees 2 dogs outside. As they look a bit rough and not aggressive, he invites them in and gives them some meat from a boar he just killed and wondered what to do with all that meat. He notices that one of them is pregnant, and after they ate, she started having birth pain. Hiraku realizes she is giving birth and wonders what to do. He ends up letting them stay in his house, while he goes back in the tree hole for the night. In the morning, he checks on the dogs and sees that the female gave birth to 4 dogs. He gives them some more meat to celebrate it. Hiraku believed the dogs would leave after that, but they decided to hang around. As they liked the hut, Hiraku decides to build himself a new house. Hiraku ends up growing some tomatoes and enjoys them. The dogs do some hunting and protect the premises for Hiraku. He decides to name them Kuro and Yuki, male and female. The small ones he named Kuroichi, Kironi, Kirosan, Kiroyan. Hiraku wants to build a storehouse, more vegetables, and many other things. Elsewhere, a girl wants to cross the mountain, but a man tells her it's dangerous and if she heard of the Forest of Death. The other side of the mountain is known like that, and it's because it's full of monsters. God decides to check on Hiraku on how he is doing, as he is sorry for giving him a life fit for a sinner. As he checks on him, he realizes he put him in a dangerous forest known as Forest of Death, as realizes he made a mistake yet again. Hiraku had realized that while preparing the ground for farming, if he wishes to plant certain plant, that plant magically starts growing. Hiraku is happy with his life and knows it's thanks to the gods that bestowed it to him. He makes some statues of the two gods so that he can thank them. Hiraku decides to try planting some fruits. While they grow, he plays with the dogs, realizing that without them he would feel much more lonely. As the dogs also help him find his way back to his camp, Hiraku is able to travel further into the forest and eventually finds a river. He decides to make a tunnel and get water to his place, but since it's a 30 minutes walk distance, he will be digging for a while and decides to first make a toilet near the river. Hiraku figures that if he turns his tool into a wheelbarrow, he can run around with it and not get tired because of the tool. Hiraku also expands his crop fields, adding more veggies. He grows soybeans and wants to eat them, but doesn't have salt. Time passes and weather starts to get cold. Seeing snow on the mountains, Hiraku wonders how cold it gets here. He decides to start preparing for the winter and gathers some food and wood. A giant spider shows up, however it's friendly and makes a handkerchief for Hiraku. The spider then decides to live in the large tree and loves eating potatoes. In exchange, the spider makes him clothes using the animal pelts Hiraku gives him. Gaining cloth, Hiraku feels more civilized as he now has a good bed, curtains, and clothes. Hiraku decides to name the spider Zabuton. The winter starts. Zabuton no longer comes down the tree and Hiraku guesses he is hibernating. Hiraku feels a bit lonely, but finally the summer comes. The small dogs had grown up and one day they left. However, they soon returned with partners. Soon, Zabuton showed up as well and also had kids. As there are now more mouths to feed, Hiraku decides to expand his crops again. Zabuton rings the alarm and Kuro leads Hiraku into the forest. Kuro takes him to a child girl who is naked and entangled in spiderweb. The dogs and spiders are wary of her, but as she asks for help, Hiraku decides to help her. As he gets close, she jumps and bites his neck and then grows up to a young woman. Hiraku wonders if she is a monster. The dogs then attack her, and as they beat her up, she turns into a small girl again. Hiraku wonders if she is their enemy as she sucked his blood, but the girl explains she isn't and she had to do it to recover her strength. As she used too much energy, she can't maintain her adult form and clothes. Hiraku wonders why the dogs attacked them, and she explains she wanted to take one of them. Feeling bad for her, Hiraku lets her suck more of his blood so that she can recover. Hiraku takes her to his place. The girls is surprised to see a crop field in the forest, but also so many new crops. Hiraku gives her a tomato and she ends up enjoying it and wants to try some other crops as well. The girl reveals her name is Rururushi, a vampire, and is excited to be able to try so many new veggies. Ru explains she is researching medical plans and ran away as she got in a fight with some nobles who tried to steal her research. Since they kept chasing her and she heard of this forest, she decided to hide in it for a while until things calmed down, but also hoped to find some new plants to inspect. She is surprised that Hiraku is living in this dangerous forest and even tamed the beasts. He is also using some strange magic which allows him to create some tools, all of which excites her even more. Hiraku realizes how rare his chance is, as this is the first person he came in contact with. As it may take even more to meet someone else, Hiraku decides to ask Ru to stay and live with him. Ru tries to explain that there are people after her and she is a vampire, but Hiraku doesn't care. Hiraku explains he came here to live alone as he can't deal with people, but now realized he doesn't want to live alone and isn't sure how much more he can handle. Rue agrees, explaining that she doesn't really have a place to go, although she feels embarrassed by his proposal. Next morning, Rue turns a little younger. Hiraku wonders why, and she explains that in this form, he will restrain himself from touching her, and Hiraku agrees. Hiraku explains he wants to grow some sweet potatoes next. He also tells that Rue is the first villagers. Kuro disagrees, and Hiraku then corrects himself, stating she is more like 30th villager. Rue wonders if Hiraku can grow some medical herbs, and Hiraku agrees to try. Rue states they need to find somehow the right seeds, but Hiraku states he doesn't need seeds. Using magic, Rue helps out by putting lights in the toilet and other places. Hiraku had almost given up on finding salt, but Rue explains that one of the layers in the soil is mostly salt and is surprised he didn't notice while did all that digging. Hiraku checks on his fruit garden, but guesses it takes more time for them to grow up than the veggies. Zabuton rings the alarm, and Hiraku wonders what is going on. He goes with Rue to check out, only to find another girl being captured by the spiders and the dogs. She apologizes for attacking them and asks Hiraku for help. As he releases her, she uses magic to heal herself. She then notices Rue and realizes she was hiding in the forest and wants to capture her, but the dogs attack her again. Hiraku takes the girl and Rue back to his place. Rue explains she was in the same situation. The dogs are quite ruthless and magic doesn't really affect them, as they can also dodge spells. The girl wonders who is Hiraku, and blushing, Rue explains he is her husband. The girl introduces herself as Tia, an angel. Hiraku guesses that she serves God, but Rue explains that angels are a race of warriors who have more muscle than brains. Hiraku wonders why Tia is chasing Rue, and Tia explains Rue has a bounty due to the damage she caused in the town. Rue is always researching strange medicines and concoctions, and as soon as something bothers her, she starts blowing things up. Rue states that only happened once because the nobles were so demanding and needed to be taught a lesson, and it was an accident, and finally admitted she went a little too far. She also explains that Tia is a bit stronger than her, which is why she ran into the forest. Tia is surprised that Rue is admitting her weaknesses, and Rue explains it's because she realizes how weak she is after facing the dogs. Rue offers Tia to live with them, guessing she will like it. Tia agrees, and Rue takes her around to show her the crops. They spend the day harvesting some veggies, and Hiraku gives Tia to try some, which she ends up liking. After a few days, Tia asks Hiraku if they can grow more strawberries. Hiraku explains they can, but even if they expand, they won't be able to keep up with the harvesting of everything. Tia realizes that they indeed can use more hands. Hiraku also notes that even if they do manage to harvest all, they may not be able to eat it all. Hiraku sees that Kuroichi, Kironi, Kurosan, and Kuroyan also have 3 to 4 children now, and the dog family has grown quite a bit. Soon they will grow and go find themselves partners. Rue realizes that means they will become even more, causing Hiraku to realize the hut he built them won't be big enough. Hiraku then decides to build a dog area next to the orchard. Hiraku still haven't named the new pups as they are too many, and he has a hard time thinking of names. Hiraku then sees Zabuton's children leaving, but sees some of them decided to stay. Tia tells Hiraku that she will be gone for a while and flies away. Few days later, Tia returns with a bunch of high elf girls. The elves introduces themselves as Lee, Leaf, Leekot, Lize, Lili, Lida, and Lise. Hiraku notices they are all Leis, and Lee explains it's because they are all related. They came per Tia's suggestion and would like to live here. Tia states they have a sad backstory. They used to live in a village in the north, but most of their people got wiped out after they got dragged into the war of the humans. Their race had scattered, and since then they have been wandering the land looking for a new home. Rue also suggests they to take the girls, as she heard that the High Elves are talented race. She guesses they are still young, and Lee states she is the oldest, a bit over 400 years, while Lee's is the youngest, a bit over 300 years old. Tia and Rue insist, and Hiraku agrees as long as they can get along with the rest of the roommates. Lee wonders who are the roommates, and Rue introduces Zabuton and the dogs, which causes the girls to faint. As the elves wanted to live together, Hiraku decided to build them one big house. The elves know more about construction, and Hiraku decides to follow their orders while they are building the house, and mostly just digs and brings them lumber. After 10 days, the house is complete. It's quite big, and Rue and Tia are impressed. Hiraku feels jealous, but has learned the elves' techniques and considers rebuilding his hut. The elves' house has one big living room where they can all gather and dine. To each side of the living room, they have storage rooms. On the second floor, they have individual rooms. Hiraku is surprised to learn that the elves also eat meat and use fire. His image for elves is that they wake up with sunrise and go to sleep when the sun goes down. They are one with the nature and love the tree. They eat mostly berries and refuse to wear any metal. Lee tells Hiraku to not underestimate the forest, as if you try to live like that, you will die quite fast. Lee explains they plan on doing some mining and blacksmithing work, but first they need to build up a furnace that can melt iron. Hiraku is surprised, as in his image, that was a dwarf's work. Soon they build a furnace and start producing things. Having a metal pan, Hiraku gets excited, feeling his civilization is advancing, and guesses the elves can do anything. Lee states are some things they couldn't do, like settle down and reproduce. Hiraku states they already achieved one of those things, but decides to not say anything about the second, seeing how they were looking and smiling at him. The elves had seen there is a wheat field, and Hiraku explains they have harvested it and turned it into flour. Lee then asks if they can make some bread, showing that they have a jar with yeast, and Hiraku happily accepts. As they enjoy some bread, Hiraku guesses it's time to expand the wheat field. But in that moment he realizes something and asks Rue if this land belongs to anyone. Rue explains no one owns the forest, but it technically under the control of the Demon Lord. Hearing that, Hiraku starts to worry and wonders if the Demon Lord will have something against it. But Rue assures him that since he built this himself, the land belongs to him. Tia, Rue, and Lee are amazed by Hiraku, as not only he tamed the Inferno wolves, but a demon spider too. The crops are also amazing, and Lee wonders if the soil here is actually that good for them to grow that well. But it's surprising how he lacks knowledge about the world around him. He had wrong impression on what elves were and had no idea what angels are, so the girls conclude it's more than just lacking some knowledge. Meanwhile, Hiraku is in his hut and makes a wooden cup. He realizes he haven't progressed his waterway in a while and wonders if the girls will help. Zabuton shows Hiraku that it caught a queen bee, as it has no intention to eat it and the bee isn't aggressive. Hiraku decides to build it a little house where the bee can build a nest in hopes that he can harvest some honey. Tia, who was flying by, was curious what Hiram was doing, but fear of the hive and apologizes for interrupting him. He guesses he will need to plant some flowers for the bees. After that, Hiraku digs a large hole, intending to use it as a reservoir, and explains to Lee that he plans on drawing water from the river. Lee wonders how far he progressed with his waterway, but hearing he barely started, she suggests they first should decide what to build it out of. Hiraku imagines stone, but Lee explains it will be hard to get. Hiraku then wonders about wood, but Lee explains that due to the length they will be connecting many pieces and there will be too much leakage. Hiraku then decides to use dirt, and using the almighty tool he compacts it, turning it in solid and sturdy as concrete. Hiraku lets the elves handle the foundation of the waterway, while he focuses on sealing the seams and strengthening the foundation. Hiraku also manages to catch some fish. Tia and Rue recognize the fish as quite vicious ones from the Forest of Death and wonder if it's safe to eat them. They make Hiraku taste them first and only eat after that, but end up finding it delicious. As the elves also like it, Hiraku captures more fish and preserves them with salt. Hiraku is surprised he was able to grow some rice, but now that he has easy access to water, Hiraku decides to build a rice paddy. After he digs the area and floods it, the girls wonder if he intends to make a lake and grow fish in it. Hiraku denies it and asks them to help him plant some rice. The rice fields grow fast and Hiraku teaches the girls on how to harvest them. After drying them, he uses the almighty tool to create an old thresher, and then a sieve to get rid of the leaves and plant matter. He then uses a mortar to remove the husk from the rice, and a pestle to polish the rice. The girls note it's a lot of work and wonder if they can finally eat, but Hiraku explains they first need to cook it and shows them how to. Finally, Hiraku makes the rice into rice balls and adds some fish from the other day. The girls end up enjoying the rice balls so much that they eat it all, and only a single rice grain was left for Hiraku. The girls can clean themselves using magic, but as Hiraku can't do that, he decides to build a bath. The girls state they can wash in the river, but Hiraku explains the bath benefits and that they can bath in the winter too without freezing. The girls help him and the bath progress goes well. However, Hiraku then realizes and wonders if it's okay to put the wastewater back into the river. Tia suggests that they use slimes as they will eat the waste products and purify the water. Tia brings some slimes and Hiraku builds a purification pool for them. Tia explains they can also put them into the toilets, but Hiraku isn't sure he wants to do his business over a slime's head. Hiraku finds some mushroom growing on his wood logs, and as he isn't sure what is poisonous and what is not, he wonders if he can grow some mushrooms himself and uses the almighty tool and hits the wood, hoping for shiitake, shimji, and other mushrooms. In the evening, Hiraku teaches the girls on how to use the bath. He explains that after they undress, they should wash themselves in the washing area. Lee stops him and states it would be easier if he shows them. Hiraku agrees and shows them the steps. As he gets in the bath, he almost melts from joy. The girls then don't wait and starts following the steps to join him. Hiraku states he will leave to let them enjoy it and use if after them, but the girls states they can bath together as that way they won't need to heat up water again. Surrounded by the girls, Hiraku doesn't feel he can relax and wonders if he should build a separate bath for men. However, the girl states it would be a private bath for only him, and that isn't fair. The next day, Hiraku sees that he had grown some mushrooms and decides to make a mushroom hot pot tonight. He then hears the dogs and sees that they found 5 new elves and brought them in. As the girls introduce, Hiraku notices they all start with La, and that it must mean they are related. Lee explains that she knows them and they used to live in the same village, but they last saw each other 200 years ago. Hiraku accepts that they live there too and Lee wants to start building them a house. She also states they can use the opportunity and make some improvements to Hiraku's house. Kuro notices that the females in Hiraku's group has increased. Kuro explains that he lived alone in the forest and never lost a fight to another male. He intended to live as he pleases, but one day he met a female who ended up defeating him. And since then, the two started traveling together. The female eventually became pregnant and Kuro was fine with finally having a family. However, they ran into a grappler bear, the king of this forest. The bear defeated them, but decided not to eat them. Injured, the two couldn't hunt for food. They became so weak that their normal prey drove them away, and eventually they reached at the center of the forest, where even the grappler bear avoids. They found a human male living alone. Normally the humans are hiding in the forest and don't stay too long in one place. Kuro wondered how such weak human could survive alone, but then felt the limitless power coming from the almighty tool. Kuro thought this was the end of them and accepted it. But Hiraku shared his food with them and took care of them. Kuro and his wife then decided that Hiraku will be their master. He gave them names and place to live. Soon, their children grew and Kuro's family increased. Hiraku also became leader of a large pack of his own. Kuro's only concern is that Hiraku doesn't seem to understand that Kuro is a terrifying monster known as Inferno Wolf. However, Kuro is sure it will be fine and is thankful for meeting Hiraku. Hiraku's new house is finally finished. The girls then show him around the house and his room. Hiraku sees a room that has a bolt lock and wonders what is inside. But as he opens it and sees a bed for two, he closes it quickly and pretends he didn't see it. The next day, Hiraku decides to make a dish he haven't made before, curry. Hiraku takes the girl to a section of his crops, where they see lots of unfamiliar plants, and he explains that some of them are plants who won't grow in areas with any snowfall. But thanks to the almighty tool, he can grow them here. He proceeds to gather spice for the curry and first takes some cumin. He then gathers some turmeric and explains that this ingredient gives the curry its color. After that, he gathers coriander and explains they need to grind the seeds into powder. He also takes some cilantro leaves, which smell turns off the dogs. The girls notice that decide it may be worth researching the plant. Hiraku proceeds and gathers black pepper and cayenne peppers. Having gathered all the spices, Hiraku proceeds with the next step, but sees that only Lee is there, who explains that Rue and Tia are busy with some research about creating a powerful protection talisman. Hiraku then starts cooking, heating the rapeseed oil they extracted and adds the rabbit meat. While that is cooking, he grinds all the spices to powder except for the cumin. Once the meat gets some color, he takes it off to not overcook it, and then cooks the cumin with the leftover bits and juices from the meat. After that, he adds diced onions, ginger, and garlic. Next, he adds tomatoes and keeps sautéing everything. When it turns into a paste, he adds the spices and some salt. After cooking it for a bit, he then adds the meat and boiled soybeans with some water. As he lets it cook, Hiraku feels he forgot something and then realizes it's naan. Hiraku explains it's the same recipe as making regular bread right up until the part they let it rise, where they will roll the dough with a rolling pin. The girls return just as Hiraku is done cooking and they all sit to eat. He explains how to eat the naan with the curry, and the girls end up enjoying it and decide to get a second. Seeing them, Hiraku hopes they leave some for him as well. Rue and Tia offer some curry to the dogs, but upon smelling it, the dogs run away. With the winter coming soon, Hiraku prepares for it and gathers some firewood. He knows that Zabuton goes into hibernation and asks him in advance to make some extra blankets. Hiraku is having Rue and Tia preserve some meat by smoking it and drying it, especially since the dogs won't be able to hunt much during the winter. Hiraku is working on a way to preserve vegetables and creates a box with 2 floors. He will be putting the vegetables on the top floor and cover them in a blanket and snow, while any from the snow will gather on the bottom floor and keep the vegetables dry. Seeing the girls use magic, Hiraku wished he could use too, but it's glad that they are around as they helped him quite a lot, as he is capable of only doing garden work and cooking. Rue states that he is the amazing one as no one has ever managed to live for that long in this forest. When the winter comes, they are staying more inside, and Hiraku decides to make some board games like Reversi, chess, and Mahjong set. He explains the Reversi game and that it ends when the board is filled and the winner is the one with more pieces of his color. Rue finds the game rules simple and wonders if it will be fun, but Tia states that allows it for complicated strategies. Hiraku compliments Tia for realizing it, and that annoys Rue, who then challenges Tia. As they play, Tia is winning for sure. However, Rue flips the board, acting like she did it by accident. Rue suggests they should start again as they don't remember which piece was where. However, Tia uses magic and restores the board exactly how it was. Rue flips it again, but Tia restores it again. Rue then suggests 2 out of 3 games and Tia accepts. Hiraku checks on the other girls and sees that Kuro is giving advice where to more apiece. He then notices other dogs playing chess and is surprised they not only understand the rules, but are playing it. He feels an awful energy coming from them and decides that he should never challenge the dogs to a game. Rue then comes and decides to play with the dogs, believing she can't lose to them, but ends up losing and doesn't flip the table as she is afraid of Kuro. Hiraku then plays Mahjong with Kuro, Tia, and Lee, believing that Kuro shouldn't have understood the rules that fast. However, he ends up losing badly, taking the last place, while Kuro wins. Feeling down, Hiraku decides to make a mini bowling. Since Rue wonders why they need to knock down the pins, he decides to name them as some bad guys. As they play games each day, the winter goes fast, and the spring comes. One morning, Zabuton alerts them. Hiraku then sees that something big is coming from the sky. He guesses it's a dragon, but Tia corrects him it's a wyvern. The wyvern attacks Hiraku's group, breathing fire, but Rue and Tia use magic to defend themselves. The fire spreads into the crops, but the elves are quick to put it away. Hiraku wonders what to do and how to stop the wyvern. He summons the almighty tool, which to his surprise turns into a spear. He throws it at the wyvern, who creates a 3-layer barrier, but the spear pierces it and injures its wing. He then throws it again, piercing its chest and killing it. Hiraku wonders if it's normal to encounter wyverns, but Rue explains they are rare creatures. Hiroku then wonders if someone could have sent it, but Tia explains that even if that was the case, the person won't have just sent it alone since it's a valuable creature. Hiraku then assumes it was just a fortunate encounter. He then wonders if they can eat it, and the girls explain it's said to be a delicacy meat. Hiraku makes 3 dishes with the wyvern meat, and all the girls end up enjoying it. Rue asks Tia if she could have blocked Hiraku's spear, but Tia, seeing that the wyvern wasn't able to stop it, she won't have been able to stop it either. Rue guesses it was luck that they first met the dogs and not Hiraku. At the demonic kingdom of Galgardo, Demon Lord's castle, the great generals receive report that a wyvern was felled. Randon can't believe it, as when one gets close to their territory, they need to mobilize their entire military force. Beazle states the wyvern was attacked from the ground and killed in 2 hits. Randon fears that they won't be able to fight someone that powerful. Beazle states they are the 4 generals. They need to handle the situation before fear spreads. Randon then decides they should resign, but Beazle attempts to stop him. At Gatekeeper Dragon's Drime's lair, Dorame, a blue dragon, asks Gucci if he saw the fight, and Gucci confirms it. Dorame wonders what would happen if he takes the spear attack, and Gucci guesses it will likely pierce cleanly through him. Dorame wonders what to do, and Gucci notes it would be foolish to attack. Hiraku enjoyed the wyvern meat, but felt something is missing and decides to finally make some alcohol. He guesses that wine exists in this world and decides to make it from grapes. The girls are excited and they harvest the grapes quickly. Hiraku then creates a place where he places the grapes and asks the girls to stomp them. The girls feel a bit weird at first, but guess it would be easier if they have some sort of rhythm. The elves then suggest a song from their village and start singing. They fill several barrels, and Hiraku decides to let the yeast on the skin of the grapes to ferment it for them. Hiraku wonders if they made too much, but hearing that the girls will drink it in no time, he wonders if he made too little. Meanwhile, the god observes Hiraku and wonders if this is enough for him to forgive him. But the goddess of agriculture tells him it isn't, as he punished innocent soul, and while trying to save it, ended up sending him to the forest of death. The goddess can't believe that he also gave him a replica of the Holy Lance Grime. God explains that he is only using it as a farming tool, and he got permission. However, the goddess states he didn't tell her he was giving it to human, which should drain all of their life force and kill them instantly. God states he is fine, as he gave him a super healthy body and he must have fast recovery. The goddess states he was just being careless. She is also angry that the god statues that Hiraku made. She appears like an old man. God tries to say it's not his fault, but she doesn't want to listen and punishes him to sit for 300 years. Zabuton signals Hiraku, and he sees that the dogs and spiders had caught another girl. Rue sees its younger sister Flora. As they take her to the village, Flora explains that she heard the angel was after her and she followed her to the forest. Hiraku suggests that she stays there for a while so that she can rest. Flora accepts, but feels strange that Hiraku is Rue's husband. Rue explains that he is the master of the Inferno Wolves and also took down a wyvern. Hearing that, Flora quickly apologizes. Hiraku realizes that Kuro isn't a dog, but a wolf, and wonders about the inferno part. Kuro then breathes fire and Hiraku is impressed. Rue and Tia are surprised he didn't know, as they are well-known beasts, and they lived quite along with him. Hiraku prepares some food for Flora, who ends up enjoying it. He shares that he really wants to make some miso and soy sauce, and as Flora doesn't know what is that, he explains that they are made from fermented soybeans. As Flora wonders what is fermented, he explains how cheese and wine are made. Hearing about the microorganisms, Flora is excited for a new subject she could research. After a few days, Flora leaves, but in a month, she returns to live there and has brought her maids as well. Anne speaks on the behalf of all the maids and tell Hiraku that he can use them as he wants. Hiraku sees that Flora has brought 2 cows as well and gets excited that they can make butter and cheese now. Tia realizes that the vampires, elves, wolves and spiders are all large groups now, but she is alone. She tells Hiraku that she will leave for a while and flies away. Tia returns soon and has brought her underlings. 3 angels, Gran Maria, Kudal and Koral. Some lizardmen, represented by Daga and a chicken. With the arrival of the maids, who are a race of ogres, all of the chores start to get done a lot faster. Hiraku notices that they don't cook any complicated dishes and decides to teach them all the cooking methods he knows. That ends up interesting the ogres, who then start cooking. The 3 angles that Tia brought are instructed by Tia to patrol the forest. Hiraku wondered why they appeared with armors, but realizes that Tia planned to have them as a security after the appearance of the wyvern. The lizardmen are in charge of all the labor that requires strength outdoors, and thanks to them, their construction work is moving faster than before. Hiraku makes Daga wear a scarf around his arm, as he isn't able to tell them apart. Hiraku realizes that their numbers had increased a lot. Lee then comes and tells him that she brought all the elves she found in the forest. Hiraku then sees another large group of elves, but notices that they are all female. He wonders about the male elves and Lee explains that the men didn't survive. However, they intend to make many. Hiraku is happy for them, but decides not to ask how they intend to do that. Several days later, Hiraku calls all the representatives to talk with them and asks them on how to name the village. Rue suggests they name it after Hiraku, but Hiraku doesn't like the sound of it. Anne suggests they name it after the forest, but hearing the forest is called Forest of Death, Hiraku feels that's a scary name. Zabuton then points at the door, and as Hiraku opens it, he sees the Great Tree and decides to name it the Great Tree Village Teju Village. That evening, he announces the village name to everyone and explains they will be having a party to celebrate it. Everyone start calling Hiraku their mayor. Hiraku states they need to decide that later together, but the girls tell him that everyone is already calling him that. The village then celebrates it by drinking the first batch of wine they made. Hiraku becomes the mayor of the Great Tree Village. However, his daily duties doesn't change. One day, a messenger from the demonic kingdom arrives. Beezle requests to speak with the one in charge of the village and Hiraku steps out. Beezle gives a gift to Hiraku and explains that the demon lord wants to discuss the status of the settlement. Hiraku recalls that the land was under the demon lord protection and wonders if they will want him to pay taxes or will kick him out. Hiraku tells Beezle that if the demon lord lets them live here, they will give part of their harvest as a tax, and suggests 10%. Hiraku wonders if it's too low, but Beezle is ready to accept. Hiraku then explains they can pick up the tax each year before the winter starts. As Beezle agrees, the 2 sides sign a contract. Hiraku's village will be paying 10% of what they grow in their fields. However, that doesn't include milk, eggs, honey, or alcohol they produce. If they are interested in the products they produce, then they can trade. Hiraku felt a bit too aggressive with the negotiations and also gave them a gift. After Beezle leaves, the girls tell Hiraku that he did a good job, but usually the tax is 50% to 60%. Also having them to come and collect it is a good move as it forces them to officially recognize their residence here. It's also very good that they have the Demon Lord's protection. Rue is also excited about the present Beezle gave them, an almighty medicine that works whatever you drink it or apply it directly to the wound. Beezle reports to the other 4 generals, which surprises them that the village is submitting to them, even though they can defeat a wyvern. Randon wonders if they have an ulterior motive, and Beezle shares the same fear, and explains that he had no choice but to accept their conditions as the vampire princess and the angel of annihilation were there. They also had an army of high elves and a pack of inferno wolves, along with a trio of killer angels. Beezle had to accept their conditions, otherwise they would have become an enemy to the demonic kingdom. Grat sees that they also got a gift from them and decides to open it, in case it's something dangerous. He sees its fruits like a pose, but with nicer shape and color. Beezle notices that the cloth in which the apples were is made by a great demon spider. Gratz is surprised to hear that as a great demon spider fought one of the previous demon lords to a standstill. Dorim, the true ruler of the dragons, also visits the village. Gucci gives them a present and explains that Dorim's lair is located to the south of here. While the distance is big, they are kinda like neighbors and came to greet them. Hiraku is surprised that Dorim keeps bowing down and explains that he would invite them inside, but Dorim is too large. Gucci then asks Dorim to change to a smaller form, and Dorim takes a human form. After eating and drinking, Dorim ends up loving the alcohol and wants to stay there. But Gucci tells him he needs to protect his domain and that he will be a nuisance to the people in the village if he stays for too long. After the 2 visits, Hiraku starts thinking of a better way to greet the visitors and decides to build a guest house. He proposes a house fit for 4 people, but the girls suggest it should be large, as usually those who come will come in large groups, and the house needs to be fit for 30 people. They start working on the guest house. Hiraku then starts thinking on a more proper way to welcome the guest. At the moment, the angels would find the guest, capture them, and lead them to the village entrance. On top of that, when Zabuton sounds the alarm, everyone grabs their weapons and get ready for a battle. Hiraku comes up with a new signal for visitors and gives a bell to Zabuton to ring. Hiraku then wanted that he, Rue, and Tia to greet the guests, but the idea is rejected, and he is forced to add some elves, Oni maids, and lizardmen. Soon, Garf and few beastmen from the Howling Village arrive as guests and explain they want to establish a relationship with Hiraku's village. Rue decides to handle it and asks if that's all of them. As Garf confirms, Rue explains that they will consider anyone else then an enemy. The Inferno Wolves then bring some more men from Garf's group, and he apologizes. She tells them to behave and then invites them in the village. After they get them into the guest house, they lock them in. Tia explains that every guest they had has brought some present. She still isn't sure if they are enemies, but they aren't following the normal visitor procedures, so they won't be getting the normal visitor treatment. The girls are against giving fancy food or alcohol to the guests, but Hiraku manages to convince them to give them some alcohol. While the beastmen eat and drink, Hiraku asks them how they learned about his village. Garf explains they heard from the Demon Lord's men. In the Howling Village, they are making their living by hunting or mining, and they have been trading with other human villages. However, as there has been some trouble at the human villages, the trading with them became unstandable, so they decided to look for someone new to trade. Tia asks them why some of them remained hidden, and one of them explains that if something were to happen to the others, they would return and report back to their village. The next day, Garf explains that they want to trade and have an open market. However, as it's hard for them to come to this village with the goods, he would like if Hiraku can come to their village, guessing he can navigate easily in the forest. Hiraku then guesses he can use the wolves to pull a cart with goods and can visit their village. For their first trade, Garf had brought items made from the ores they mined, things like silverware, glassworks, metalworks, and would like food for them. Seeing them, Hiraku agrees and brings the food they have for trade. When leaving, Garf reveals that he didn't know people bring gifts when they visit, as their village doesn't have such custom, but promises to bring one next time. However, he explains that they are poor and it won't be anything fancy. Hiraku explains that the value doesn't matter, but the thought behind it. Some time passes and Hiraku decides it's time they trade with the Howling Village. However, the girls doesn't allow him to leave and agree that Tia will go with some lizardmen. Normally, it would take them 10 days to get to the village. However, Doram agrees to take them faster in exchange for a barrel of wine. After his first visit, Doram started regularly visiting the village and always brings treasures or weapons as gifts, so no one complains about him. Few days later, Tia returns with a sad Doram. She explains that when the beastmen saw them with the dragon, they were shocked, and initially also refused to take anything they were given. However, they gave some free samples like Hiraku suggested, and the beastmen loved the goods, and they ended up trading everything. Doram then complains that they even traded the barrel of wine that was supposed to be his. Hiraku then tells him he can drink more tonight during dinner, and Doram gets happy again. Tia reveals that the mayor of Howling Village asked if some people from his village can come and live here. Hiraku states they need more people for work, so he would be happy to take them. Tia then reveals that there are 20 people who want to come, and they are all young women. Hiraku is a bit disappointed as the village is mainly consisting of females and fears the village may not have a future. He accepts, but requests that they send 2 young men as well. The group of female beastmen arrive and Sina introduces herself. She is grateful that he is accepting them and explains that they are prepared to be used however he see fit, but asks him to not abandon them. Hiraku tells them to take their time and get used to the place. After that, they can make a request of what kind of house they want. He also tells them to not worry that they will be kicked out. Hiraku wonders about the men he asked for, and Sina reveals they brought 3 young men as he asked. Hiraku is shocked, but then realizes that in 5 or 10 years they may help with the village future. Initially, the beastmen believed they will be treated horrible. However, as that isn't the case, they get used to the life in the village quite fast. Hiraku notices that Sina uses magic and guesses that everyone can use it except him. She tries to comfort him and explain that the beastmen kids still can't use and they can learn together, but Hiraku knows that one day they will easily surpass him. Hiraku harvests some apples, but hears some noise nearby the village and the ground shakes. Gran Maria quickly report that a grappling bear and a bloody viper are fighting in the northern area of the forest. Hiraku wonders if they can eat the bear meat and asks Gran Maria to take him see the monsters. When they reach them, Gran Maria suggests they go back and think of a plan. However, Hiraku requests that she drops him down. As she leaves him, he attacks the monster and kills them with a single blow. The killer angels then look at the defeated monsters and state how impressive is Hiraku, as they couldn't take down such monster with one attack. After that, Hiraku decides to cook the bear with some wine and makes wine-braised grappler bear dish, but finds it quite gamey. The girls are shocked that he used their precious wine, but he explains that cooking with wine is normal. He fries the viper and ends up enjoying it more as it tastes like fried chicken. Since the viper tastes like chicken, Hiraku wants to try something. He goes to Flora and asks her if she has something like an antibacterial agent. He explains that he needs something that can kill microorganisms and will prevent stomach aches or illness. Flora then offers him a potion, explaining that it will blow up everything. Hiraku asks for something weaker, and she gives him another potion. Hiraku also wonders how the miso production is coming along, and Flora explains that she has no progress. She did what he told her, but she didn't notice any fermentation, and used a potion that blow up her house 3 times already. Hiraku suggests that they can try again. The next day, Hiraku gathers some chicken eggs. He then adds salt and vinegar. After mixing it, he adds some oil and gets mayonnaise, which will go perfect with the fried viper. Hiraku then proceeds with the miso, and start by simmering the soybeans he and Flora soaked in water. Next, they grind them, and he uses the almighty tool to add koji mold. They form balls and pack it into barrels and leave for a few months. Rue then calls Hiraku, informing him they have visitors. The visitors are a few elder dwarfs led by Donovan, who heard that they have high-quality alcohol and wish they share some with them. The girls explain that they can't give it for free. Donovan states they don't have money, but have technology. They have spent their lives studying alcohol production, and seeing the fine crops they have, they can help them turn them into fine alcohol. Hearing that, the girls quickly agree. The dwarfs then use distillation and make corn whiskey. Eventually, Donovan and his men remained in the village and worked as the village brewers. Later, the village has a welcoming celebration for the beastmen and dwarfs. Hiraku realizes that finally some men joined and asks Donovan if some girl catches his eye. Donovan then explains that the girls are too young for him, and if they can't grow a beard, they are not for him. One day, Hiraku sees a dragon approaching. As it doesn't look peaceful, he prepares for a fight. Doraemon then shows up and stops the dragon. As the two dragons stare each other, a third appears, which looks even scarier. Hiraku then throws his spear, but the dragon manages to dodge in the last moment. Guchai then stops Hiraku, explaining that they are not enemies and are not fighting. As the dragons land and transform into human forms, Guchai explains that the two other are Doraemon's wife, Grafaloon, and daughter, Lastismoon. As Doraemon constantly sneaks out to come to the village, his wife and daughter thought he may be cheating, as he always takes something from the treasury and returns in the morning. Hiraku had built Doraemon a house there, so that he doesn't need to go home drunk, but guesses that was a bad idea now. Doraemon tries to explain this is all high-level politics, but the women are sure he is hiding something. Doraemon explains that he has no courage for an affair, and the women agree on that. Hiraku apologizes for earlier, but Doraemon makes his family apologize as well. Lastismoon then apologizes for almost burning the village down, and Grafaloon apologizes for the thought of obliterating the man who pointed a spear at his daughter. Hiraku is glad that things are sorted out and leaves. Doraemon then asks his wife and daughter if they understand what he is doing, and Grafaloon confirms, noting that while they have small numbers, they have the power to challenge them, which is something she didn't expect to see ever. Lastismoon also notes that Grafaloon couldn't defend against that attack and had to avoid it. Grafaloon explains that was mainly thanks to the spider who pulled her out and is an old friend of hers. If he didn't pull her out, she won't have been alive. Grafaloon then tells Lastismoon to live in this village and make sure that this power is never turned against them. Hiraku agrees with Lastismoon living there, and she quickly starts helping them with the work. However, as she is a dragon and is too strong, she would often break anything he touches. Hiraku wonders what to do with her as Doraemon asked him to give her some work. He then notices that the wolves are scared, and Tia states it's not just the wolves, but the chickens and cows as well. She explains that the dragons aren't just powerful, but they have wisdom and knowledge too. Hiraku then gets an idea and sends Lastismoon to handle the diplomatic relations with Beezle, who is shocked to see a dragon. She wonders what he wants, and Beezle barely explains that he wants more fruits like the ones they got last time. Lastismoon states that they are low on oranges, but they have strawberries. Scared, Beezle decides to take 10 boxes. She also suggests some apples, pears, persimmons, and watermelons, and Beezle takes them too. Beezle reports back that they have a dragon now. While it may be risky, they decide to send a spy. Beezle calls his daughter, Florum, and explains that he wants her to investigate the village military might. Florum goes to the village and is welcomed by Lastismoon, who takes her around. However, while showing her around, Lastismoon is informed they spotted a messenger from Howling Village, and she decides to leave Florum to look around by herself. Florum then goes around and sees all the races. Normally, she would expect Lastismoon to command them all, but she heard that there is someone above her who rules everyone. She ends up seeing Hiraku, but as he is just a human, she ignores him. After meeting up with Lastismoon again, she explains that Hiraku is the mayor. Florum can't believe a human is commanding them all, but Lastismoon explains that he is strong enough to defeat her mother. Florum then starts to worry as not only she didn't say hello, she was quite rude to him. Hiraku heard that Florum is Beezle's daughter, and that she will be staying for a while. He sees that she is getting along with Lastismoon, but the moment he shows up, Floram starts acting quite stiff and awkward. The slimes in Teju village had started to multiply, and now they have multiple colors. No one really noticed it until a purple slime drank a barrel of alcohol, which angered the girls. They decided to hold a trial and found it guilty. However, Floram explains it's a slime, and it won't reflect on its action no matter what punishment they put him trough. The girls realize it, and they decide to leave it since it's just one slime. In time, the red slime started joining them during feasts and drink with everyone. The autumn comes. Hiraku and the rest are enjoying a hot pot, and Hiraku notes that if they have some seafood, the hot pot will taste even better. The girls then wonder what he means by seafood, and Hiraku says stuff like cod, crabs, or monkfish, along with some kombu seaweed. Rue tells Flora to start researching those things. Tia is surprised that you can eat crabs as they are hard. Floram explains that there is a harbor city called Shashado within the demonic kingdom, and they can reach it by going south from this village. Lastismoon decides to fly to it, and Floram decides to go with her as she knows a merchant there. Lastismoon and Floram return 3 days later with Michael Goraun, a merchant from the city of Shashado. After he introduces himself to Hiraku, he shows him the fish he brought and explains that the kombu he requested is usually thrown away by their fishermen. However, he told his men to collect some. Michael explains that his visit has 3 goals: to properly greet Hiraku and thank him for requesting to do business with them, to suggest more opportunities for them to trade goods and do business, and third, to become the official government purveyor for the village. The girls explain that he means to be the one that handles all trade between the village and the outside world. He shows them a list of products his company trades, and they go to further discuss the proposal. In the evening, before leaving, Michael wants them to discuss the alcohol next time, but Lastismoon yells at him that he can't have the alcohol. Scared, Michael then backs off the subject and leaves. Lastismoon flies him back to Shashado. Michael looks back at the village, and just thinking about it, he gets scared. 3 days earlier, one of Michael's men tells him that there is a visitor who wants to speak with him. As he is quite busy, Michael wonders why they don't handle it, but the man explains that they requested him by name and brought goods from their farm, and he doesn't know what to do. Michael is surprised they brought goods as that isn't their rule, and suggests they refer them to somewhere else. However, in that moment, his intuition tells him to not ignore this, and he decides to meet them. Meeting with them, Michael is surprised to see Floram from the Chrome family, and is glad that he didn't send her away, as he may have lost his head. He wonders who is the other girl, and hearing she is Lastismoon, he is shocked that she is that crazy dragon. The girls then bring him the goods and explain that they want him to buy them, and in exchange they want few things he needs to find them. As he checks the goods, he sees apples and realizes it's the fruit that have entered the demonic kingdom, and everyone is talking about them. Each one of them he can sell for several silver coins. He then sees the other fruits, and is surprised how many they have brought him. He was believing this to be quite risky, but realizing he will be making lots of money, he gets quite happy as it outweighs the risk and states he will find them what they want. He tells his man to bring him the best products from the market, and wish to go with the girls on their way back. The girls then explain they are heading towards Teju village in the Forest of Death. Hearing that, Michael starts to feel unease. He gets scared by everyone in Teju village, except Hiraku. After the deal, he feels he will be rich, but is not sure his body will be able to handle it. Later, Hiraku makes hot pot with seafood, and everyone loves it. Another dragon appears in the village. Hiraku wonders if it's related to Dorem, but as the dragon attacks and mocks Hiraku, Hiraku then gets serious and throws his spear at it, making it look like he missed, but he then throws another and takes down the dragon. The dragon turns into a young girl and states that she surrenders. Dorem then shows up and explains that she is Hakurin, his older sister. Hakurin states it's his fault, as he said he was giving Lastismoon as a bride and wants to marry her to the mayor one day. Dorem tries to deny it, stating he may have said it while he was drunk. Hakurin came to see what kind of man the mayor is and also heard he is quite strong, so she came to check him. Doram states it's not just that, and she is mostly here because she is angry. Hakurin then confirms, stating that Lastismun is 900 years younger than her, yet she will be marrying before her. Haraku is fine that she comes and tests him, but as she made a mess, he makes her clean it. After they have dinner, Hakurin wants them to play Mahjong, but wish that they bet on something. Doram wonders what Haraku can bet, but Haraku explains that he can't bet anything, so he can think only of some punishment, like strip Mahjong. Hakurin, Doram and Lastismun then all agree to play as they are all quite competitive and don't like losing. They start playing, but quickly, Haraku finds himself in his last piece of clothing. He then feels he has a chance, but ends up losing and is forced to take off his pants. Bizel reveals that Hakurin has also been seen in Haraku's village. Glatz then worries even more that they have enough power to overtake the kingdom. The demon lord Gargard shares that his daughter has been in a bad mood lately and haven't spoken to him the whole morning. Glatz then ignores the demon lord and states they need to gather funds and prepare their military force, but see that Randon has ran away again. Hakurin decides to stay in the village and is quite skilled at any job she takes, although she complains about anything she is asked to do. In the end, she became the teacher for the kids, teaching them reading, writing, and math. One day, Lamia girls led by Junia show up, bringing gifts and asking Haraku to spare their lives. As Haraku doesn't know what they mean, the Lamia girls explain that the younger wolves and spiders decides to clear a dungeon they found in the forest, which forced the Lamia to flee their homes. Haraku decides to trade the gems they mined and gives them some of their crops. Haraku would be happy if they keep trading and Lamia agree. However, Haraku asks them that when they come, if they can wear some clothes as they are topless. The Lamia then started Lamia delivery service and started carrying the traded goods for the village. Some girls convince the demonic kingdom's princess, Yuyuri, that Haraku's village is planning something foul and intends to use Frorum as a hostage. Yuyuri then decides to defeat the village and save Frorum. Bizel visits Frorum and informs her that the Princess Yuyuri intends to start a military campaign. Rosalind, Clackassay, and Roge are the ones that convinced her to do so. As for their target, it's Haraku's village. Frorum finds the girls' trio to be quite stupid and wonders why would they attack the village considering she sent them reports on how powerful they are. Bizel explains that the reports were so ridiculous that they started to think they are unrealistic. Bizel believes that if Frorum tries to stop them, they will think that she is a traitor. However, he asks her to think of something to stop them. As the attack is tomorrow, Frorum guesses they just need to show the power of the village without mobilizing the village. They pay the Lamia girls led by Junia 10 boxes of apples and 3 Lamia face, the 300 men that were heading towards the village, and easily make them surrender. As a result, Rosalind, Clackassay, and Roge are taken to the village and Frorum explains that they want to join the village and work for it like their life depends on it. They will be working for Frorum, but if they do something that harm the village, Haraku can just dispose of them. Haraku then wonders about the 4th girl, who sits in a throne, and Frorum explains that she is here just to observe for a while. As Haraku leaves, Frorum tells the girls that if they do some honest work, their transgression will be forgotten. Additionally, they should hide their identities, and the Princess Yuri will be treated just like a normal person. Frorum then shows them around the village. However, being nobles, the trio of girls believe that they shouldn't be leaving in the middle of nowhere and decide to escape. However, as try, they find inferno wolves and spiders and change their mind. Fearing to be disposed, the trio then start working and help with Frorum's work, and get to be known as the Town Hall Girls. Seeing how nice and peaceful is the village, Yuyuri regrets that she wanted to bring war to it. Frorum wonders why the Demon Lord didn't stop her, and Yuyuri explains that she heard Frorum was a hostage and was worried about her. As the two are childhood friends, they agree that Frorum will be telling her everything and treat Yuyuri like a normal person. Later, Yuyuri helps out with the farm work as well, and even forces the trio of girls to help her too. It comes time for Yuyuri and the girls to leave. However, the trio decides to stay, stating they still haven't repaid everyone's kindness, that there is still work to do and more things to learn about the village. However, in reality, they ended up enjoying the baths, the food, and the lack of political stress in the village. After Yuyuri returns home, the demon lord Gargard complains to Bizzle that she seems more dignified and is always busy with something. Bizzle states that it looks like Yuyuri is starting to get interested in politics and diplomacy, and that his daughters grow into adult before the parents even realize it. Hearing adult, Gargard assumed that she must have met a man and wishes to tear him apart. Bizzle warns him that this attitude will make her hate him one day, which calms Gargard right away. Hiraku's village start their pre-winter crop harvest, but they end up having more food than anticipated and don't even have where to store it. Lastismun suggests they send some to her father and Hiraku agrees. Hakurin then suggests that they send her parents too. She explains that her father lives in the north, while her mother in the south. Tia then realizes she means the Emperor Dragon Dusu and the Hurricane Dragon Raymarin. Lastismun then heads to her father, dropping off some crops, and then to Shishato City to drop off some crops there too. Michael Goraun asked Lastismun to exterminate a monster that was attacking the trade vessels, and Lastismun gladly accepted and defeated the monster. Meanwhile, Hakurin headed north, and on her way back, she found some people who wanted to move to the village. Their leader is Ya. Hiraku assumes they are dark elves, but Ya explains they are called mountain elves. Ya explains that they were living in the mountains, but lately have been struggling on finding food. Hiraku then wonders what to do. Hearing that Ja apologizes for causing trouble and understands that they can't just help Strange and will leave. However, Hiraku explains that he didn't mean that, and had been wondering where to put them to sleep until they build them a house. As he accepts them in the village, Ya gets happy and explains that they are excellent hunters and will catch food for themselves. They attempt to capture something, but the monsters are too strong for them. Hiraku tells her to not worry about it. Ya then sees that he is doing something, and Hiraku explains that he is trying to make some pottery, but he fails and states he would indeed need clay. Ya then volunteers to find it for him, explaining that she understands Earth and what lies in it, and the monsters won't be a problem as she can easily escape them. Ya manages to find clay and make some pottery, which makes Hiraku happy. Later, Hiraku gets informed that they found another dungeon, and as the girls want, they send a survey team to investigate it. Meanwhile, Hiraku finally finishes the male bath and uses it. Outside, Forum captures the trio of girls and forces them to tell the truth. They explain that they were hoping to mash Hiraku's back for him and use the chance to get close to him. Forum states the three of them are the lowest ranking members, and they can't just sneak up their way to the top. Soon the survey party returns and state they should send an extermination party there, as they confirmed the presence of a blood viper inside. The elves insist that they should absolutely have that meat, as the survival of their clan depends on it. Ja explains that the blood viper meat is extremely valuable. Eating it overflows your body with vitality, and it improves the husband-wife relations, and it is also said to bless you with children. Realizing why they want it, Hiraku then tries to calm the girls and wants they to discuss it with the whole village. The winter comes. Hiraku visits Rue as she doesn't feel well. As she explains her symptoms, Sina wonders if she is craving sour food lately. Rue explains that she doesn't have an appetite but is still able to eat tomatoes and fruits. Sina then explains that someone in their village said the same thing. Hiraku then wonders what happened to that person, and Sina explains they congratulated them on the baby. Rue's pregnancy is going well, however due to it, she can't transform. As the maids insist on waking up before Hiraku, he starts to wake up a bit late, so that he maids can get some sleep as well. As the village grew quite a bit, they are splitting breakfast into 3 groups. Hiraku is part of the first group, and as he eats, Gran Maria informs him that 3 killer rabbits tried to infiltrate the farm. However, Kuro and the other wolves eliminated them. They note that it's good that the rabbits keep trying to do that as they get constant food supply. Hiraku notes that the angels are always composed and proper, but when they are off duty, they enter lazy mode and rely on others to prepare them food and wash their clothes. After he is done eating, Hiraku starts working. He sees some garden pests and eliminates them with the almighty tool. Hiraku takes break for lunch, which is something that isn't common there, and it took people some time to get used to. The elves are usually not even having breakfast, and at first were nervous if it was alright to eat in the morning, wondering if they have enough food supplies. The beastmen were also not used to eat each day and initially believed they are treated nicely because they will be thrown out soon. After lunch, Hiraku continues to work. While having more people usually helps him with his job, when there is need to till new fields or plant new crops is still a job that Hiraku handles only by himself as he is using the almighty tool. Hiraku plants some flowers, wanting to bring some colors to the village. Outside of farm work, Hiraku is using the almighty tool to create various things to help out the villagers and is thankful to God for the tool. Hiraku also sometimes joins the military training. He doesn't think the village needs it, but the maids insist on it. Seeing them using the training as exercise to stay fit, he decides to train a bit, but is quite bad with any weapon, except the almighty tool. As it gets dark, Hiraku's workday is over, and he heads inside for dinner. The maids present him with a new dish, stating they are confident about it good taste about 20%. Hiraku tells them to only present dishes where they are at least 50% confident it's good. However, the maid refuses as they don't want to waste food. Frorum gives Hiraku a letter from Yuyuri in which he reads that she wants to eat apples again and a dress. Frorum then explains that Yuyuri liked the clothes that Zabuton made and is wondering if Zabuton can make more for her. After resting a bit after dinner, Hiraku takes a bath and is usually the only one there, but in reality he was in women's bath temporarily. After the bath, Hiraku usually feels unease as the elves start stalking him. Even in his room, he still feels they watch him and tricks them into revealing themselves. After that, he thanks God again for the good life he was given and falls asleep. The dwarves are usually always working making alcohol. Hiraku expected they to be always drunk, but they take their job quite seriously and don't drink while working. They also ask him to increase the grape production by 3 times and Hiraku agrees. Sina comes running and informs Hiraku that there is a strange man. Hiraku goes to check him and sees the man bowing to the wooden god statues Hiraku had made. Hiraku then wonders how he got in without Zabuton or the angels seeing him. Rue recognizes that he is the progenitor, Vargreif, who is quite happy to see her. Vargreif explains that when he heard she is pregnant, he didn't believe it, but it seems it's true. Normally, they continue their bloodline with blood packs and pregnancies are rare, but states that children are treasure and tells her to take care of it. Hiraku wonders who is he and Rue states he can think of him as his grandfather. Vargreif explains that he is 4,000 years old, and the secret in living a long life is to erase his memory from time to time, except the important things like his name and clan. Vargreif apologizes for entering the village without notification, and explains that he initially only intended to look around and leave. But the statue below the tree caught his attention, as it was splendid likeness of the great creator. Hiraku wonders if he met God before, and Vargreif confirms that he met him when he was born and God told him that do his best even though he is born with a slightly abnormal body. Hiraku figures the abnormal body means that he is vampire and Vargreif guesses so too. Vargreif explains that he have been trying to remember how exactly God looked and it must be great to live to such statue. Hiraku realizes that he wants the statue and explains that he can't give it to him since it belongs to the village, but he will make him a new one. After making him a statue, Vargreif likes it. He wonders how much it would cost him, but Hiraku doesn't want to take money for something like that. Vargreif then states he will have to think what he can do for him as thanks. After leaving the village, Vargreif visits a large temple. The head priest there is happy to see him, noting it was 50 years since he last visited. Vargreif states he wants to enshrine a statue and asks what is the best spot. The priest explains it is the spot of the creator god statue, which was made by the master sculptor Torok. Vargreif then wants to move it in order to put the new statue there, and the priest agrees. Seeing the statue, the priest is impressed, stating it must have been made by a famous sculptor, and wonders about his name so they can honor it. But Vargreif, it would be better if they don't do that, as Hiraku doesn't seem the type to appreciate stuff like that, and also doesn't want to disturb his peaceful life. Vargreif states they quietly support him and tells the priest to inform the other temples and they all to be respectful of the Teju village. Vargreif sends Hiraku a magnificent piano. Hiraku doesn't want to take it as payment, but Vargreif then states it's gift to celebrate Rue's pregnancy. Hiraku decides to put the piano in the dining hall. The three hall girls realize that it's a piano that can only be found in the large temples and is used for big ceremonies. They decide to play it as it's one of a lifetime opportunity. However, they end up too scared to play on it as they fear they may ruin it or break it. The three of them then ask Hiraku if he can get them a piano so they can practice on it. Hiraku doesn't understand why they don't want to play on the current one, but makes Michael go around get him a practice piano. A lot of the girls end up enjoying the piano and try learning to play on it. However, Hiraku have trouble sleeping as they also play on it at night. Hiraku calls for a lunch break. However, he ends up continuing to work until Rue calls him to stop and join them for lunch. He wonders if she should be moving, but she explains it's fine and that she heard she needs to exercise. All the girls are also quite kind and concerned about Rue. However, she explains she is fine, but her problem is that she can't drink alcohol. The three killer angels make a request to Hiraku to sell off all the alcohol. Hiraku then learns that the girls decided to give up alcohol for Rue, but thinking they can't drink is driving them crazy. Because of that, the angels believe that selling the alcohol may solve the temptation problem. Hiraku believes they will end up regretting selling the alcohol as it's not something they can produce quickly again. He suggests an alternative, telling them to think of how the alcohol changes taste the longer it age. Donovan and the other dwarfs ask Hiraku if they have done something wrong as no one wants to drink alcohol anymore. After Hiraku explains, Donovan is happy and states that they don't need to lower the production, but actually increase it. Hiraku agrees, noting that he is sure that later everyone will drink more to make up for the lost time. Rue's pregnancy is going well, and the time to give birth almost comes. Everyone in the village then starts giving her various gifts. That evening, Rue feels it's time and later she gives birth during the night. In the morning, Hiraku meets his son, Alfred, and holds him. A week has passed and Hiraku recalls how everything started from him living alone to now being a father. He isn't sure if his son is half vampire, as at the moment he looks like a human. As he recalls everyone giving presents, he decides to do something to thank them for their kindness. He gathers the girls and explains he wants to start a new system. He gives them reward medals, silver coins, and states they can trade them for things they like. Tia realizes that's like money and Hiraku confirms, stating he figured that one day the village will need its own currency. Until now, Hiraku has been taking all the goods and distributing them to everyone. If someone wanted something, they come and ask him, but with the increased population, handling all the transactions by himself became impossible. They wonder if they can't just continue trading goods between them. But Hiraku gives them an example where different people put different value on certain goods, which is why he wants to use currency. Since it will cause a turmoil if they suddenly switch to the currency, Hiraku plans to start by giving the coins as reward medals. Hiraku gives everyone 3 coins. However, as the wolves and spiders are too many, he gives each group 30 medals. Some of the people traded them right away, while others like to just have them and not spend them. Hiraku starts getting more custom orders of furniture and toy, and feels he actually now works even more than before. Soon they have a big feast to celebrate the birth of Hiraku's son. where everyone are finally able to drink again. Rue brings a wooden hammer that Donovan had gifted her before, and the dwarf bring a big barrel, stating it's a new kind of wine they made, and states they need to use the wooden hammer to open the barrel. Donovan wonders how is the wine, but Rue explains that she still can't drink as she is breastfeeding the child, but she is fine watching everyone else drinking. Donovan then suggests they bottle some of it, so that they can drink it later. Hiraku likes the idea and states they can keep it until Alfred is old enough to drink and drink it with him. At the demonic kingdom, Beezle tells them that Hiraku's village had a baby. They had finally realized they can't defeat the village and wonder how to keep a good relationship with them. Glatz suggests they marry someone from the kingdom to someone to the village, but the demon lord mistakes it that they want to marry Yuri and is against it. Tia, Hakurin, and Frorum tells Hiraku that there are some people who want to move here as they want to escape a war. Hearing that the number is over 100, Hiraku believes they will need another village in order to take that many people. Rue then states they should do it. The girls agree as that means more people can move in and suggest they call it the Great Tree Village too. Hiraku states it will be a lot of work, but the girls are ready to give their best. Hiraku agrees and they start thinking where to start it.